America will not be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Abraham Lincoln. I believe it's time that we heed Abraham Lincoln's words and his warning, and that we as a nation and that we as a party lead our country to unify our nation and lead us to the greatest place of economic prosperity, strength, and healing that we've ever known before. My name's Ryan Binkley. I'm a businessman. I'm a pastor from Dallas, Texas. My wife and I have been married for 24 years, and we have 5 children, 13 to 23 years old. And this is time for us to speak to you today about some words that have come to my heart. I'm not standing on this stage, and I'm not in this race because I want to extend a brand name. I'm not selling a book. I don't have any other mission. I'm not looking for another position. Literally, some words came to my heart about 8 years ago from God for our country, and I'm here tonight to share them with you. The Lord wanted me to speak to you about the destiny of our country and some things that He has been saying, and it's pretty simple. It's time for America to have an economic revival, and it's time for America to have a spiritual revival, and the time for that is now. We have to see this opportunity that we're at right now as a nation and the position that we're in, and we are so broken as a nation, more divided than we've been in any place in my lifetime. And I'm speaking to you tonight and to all of America that's listening that it's time for us to break some barriers, for us to heal our wounds and to go to another level. I want to speak with you for a few minutes about going beyond 46. Breaking barriers and doing this is not going to be easy, but it must be done. And so beyond 46 has a couple meanings. The first one is obvious. It means going beyond our 46th president of the United States, President Joe Biden. I'm sure you're in agreement with that. President Biden has led us to really one of the greatest places of disunity in my lifetime. He's led us now to, I believe this, the brink of close to an economic collapse if we don't change some things in the next 5 to 10 years. He's also led us now into another seemingly endless and senseless war that must be stopped with diplomacy and strength, considering the freedom of all nations involved. But as I've traveled across America, and I've been to over 50 counties here in Iowa, this is one thing that I want to communicate, because I see our party, as much as we need to embrace this moment, I want you to see the opportunity that's ahead of us, because to go beyond the 46th president, we have to see what the opportunity is. I'm a businessman, so I see strategy. When I see an open door, I want to walk through it, and this is the open door for the Republican Party. We have a chance to grow our party. We have a chance to lead a movement, a culture movement, to change the culture of our country and to secure our economic freedom. But the question remains, are we going to do it? The reason is because as I've traveled, I have sensed this, and I know this is true even in this room, because in every meeting I've been to, hundreds of meetings, our party is battling for the soul of the future of where we're going to head. We're struggling. Many of us are wounded at what's happened in the past, and some of us are struggling on how do we move forward. And I just want you to know, whatever segment you're in, whether you're that moving forward segment or whether you're like, listen, I've got some scores to settle here. I understand and I empathize with them both. But as I deal with this very subject, I have to tell you, I know this. I have to be able to appreciate the leadership of the past. But in my heart to you, I have to tell you, it is time, and I believe it's God's will, that we move forward as a nation. We have to. It's so difficult to try and settle scores and look in the rearview mirror when there's a huge vision ahead. And I've seen this vision, and I've seen it, and I can see a picture of us 3 years from now celebrating our 250th birthday on July 4th with a country that's not divided, but one that's actually united, and one where young people are there and they're alive and they're excited to be a part of our country, where they're saying this thing that we don't hear often from young people. I'm excited and proud to be an American. Wouldn't you like to hear that again? to where our message is resonating in not just rural and suburban America, but the Republican message is resonating in urban America as well. And regardless of your socioeconomic status, that we are united and we are the United States of America. Well, how do we get there? The Republican Party's also got its own barriers. We're going to have to go beyond 46 ourselves, and we're going to have to recognize that it's got another meaning, because it's not just the president. We as a party have to see this opportunity and seize it. Because we as a country and we as a party lost 46 of our top 50 cities in the last election. That's difficult to absorb. I'm from Texas. We lost Dallas. We lost Houston. We lost San Antonio. We lost Austin, which is not surprising. It's a bit weird. But this is concerning. We lost Fort Worth, the last bastion. I call it the Alamo of conservatism in North Texas. We lost Fort Worth for the first time in 65 years, and this should be a wake-up call to us all. We have to see what's happening, and we have to connect to college students. We lost 70% of college students. There's going to be 70 million Gen Zers and millennials entering this next election, and right now we don't have a message or a messenger that's resonating to their hearts. And I've got something that I really believe is from God and how we begin to connect to them. But I have to start this way, because going beyond 46 means healing our country financially. We have to communicate to college students, what does it mean? What does debt mean? I've had 60 of them over in my office, and I ask them, how many of you have had a lesson in monetary policy? None of them have. They don't understand debt. We've got to communicate to them in a clear way that we care about them, their future, and our society, but we cannot continue on the path we're on. 8 years from now, we're likely on the path to be $50 trillion in debt with 14% of our budget, which will now surpass what we spend today in our defense, and it's unsustainable. We're seeing fractures with our reserve currency being challenged by China and other places. We've seen bank failures this year with our government saying there's nothing to see here. We're seeing cryptocurrencies rise up, all for this one reason: people no longer believe in our stewardship of the U.S. dollar. They don't believe in the dollar anymore. We have to fix it. I want to solve this by fixing a Republican-led health care plan, because I can't balance the budget. We have a 7-year plan to balance the budget, but I can't do it without a Republican-led health care reform that ends the monopolies in insurance exchanges, health care providers, and big pharma. I was at this event and I had somebody say, Ryan, would you sign this pledge for no big tech money? And I said, sure I will, but we add no big pharma to it, because this is where the money's going out. And by the way, if we sign that pledge, about 2/3 of Congress would be looking for another place to find money, and our last 2 presidents would be as well. Big pharma is eating it away because we give patent extensions, and right now, pharmaceutical drugs are 3 times everywhere else in the country. We're paying for it, and it must stop. We're doing this in healthcare, and we have to fix this economically. And this is my mind. That's my background in M&A. I have a mergers and acquisitions company with about 400 employees, and this is what we do all day. But at the same time, we have to lead culturally. I want to lead us to embrace urban America. There's no reason we have to keep losing at the rate we're on. It's time for us to bring a solution. I would call it a Republican alternative to socialism. Why don't we do this? Start investing in urban America and owning our cities, starting community centers and starting volunteer programs where college students are teaching young people how to read and write after school, teaching people trades again. It's time for us to get people off the government and start teaching them how to be a craftsman, a plumber, an electrician. It's time for us to rise up and for us to dive into urban America. We can't ignore urban America anymore. I'm supporting a comprehensive legislation on immigration. I think I'm the only Republican candidate doing it, but I support the Dignity Act. And the reason is that we don't have the money to do it without Congress, and we need both parties to solve this 50-year-old crisis, and we can't do it just by sending troops, because when the new president comes in, it'll all be over and we'll be back at the same battle. We need to make smart solutions, caring solutions, and when we care for the most hurting, when we care for the immigrant, the poor, the stranger at the gate, and when we care about those that are hurting the most, we will have God's attention on our country again. To do that, we need faith. I got stuck in the mud in one of my trips one time, about to speak with the governor, and I needed faith to get us out. We had to walk up a hill, and a woman stopped in a truck, and her name was Faith. She got a tractor and she helped us out. And I'm telling America, this is how we get unstuck. We trust in God. We have faith. We believe again. I believe in God, and I believe in you. God bless America.